Welcome to the Gals Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I am Leah, and I am joined by Bonnie, Katie, and Debbie, and we are talking about our one cool, funny gal. So, Debbie already talked about Mabel Normand, and Katie talked about Lucille Ball, and Bonnie talked about Gilda Radner. And before we dive back in, let's get to know something random about our gal pals. So my random question for you ladies is, what is the funniest thing you have seen a kid do? Dun, dun, dun.
Well, here's hoping my daughter doesn't watch the podcast or doesn't listen to the podcast, because I'm telling on her. When she was little, she and her friends were playing school, and it came time for them to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and their version of it was, "We pledge allegiance in the way we stand, and we stand like ladies."
I like it. I approve that message. Let's get it changed.
I just pictured our president and vice president standing like ladies. That's not a good thing.
Yep. Yes, please. I mean, that's how I get through the day. Sweet. Hey, Bonnie, I hear you have like 3 of them.
Yeah. Yes, I have several things. One, okay. So the same day that I met Leah at an art fair, there was a little girl that was walking around, and she was like, "Hey, Ma, guess what?" Exactly like that, too. And she's like, "I pet 3 dogs today." And I'm like, that girl is me.
Yeah, exactly. She is your doppelganger, basically. Yep. She is you in another time conspirium. That's not
speaking of me. When I was little, apparently one of my mom's friends got me like a novelty t-shirt from somewhere. I don't even remember which shirt it is. But, you know, like they went to the zoo and got me a t-shirt.
Right.
So I had to write a thank you note, because that's what you teach the young kids to do. Right. And Mom, I guess, didn't really look at it closely before she mailed it. And her friend called her laughing because apparently I wrote, "Thank you for the shit."
It was a lovely shit.
It was good shit.
That was good shit.
But I do love all the little, like, why is the toddler having a meltdown memes? Like, I am always watching these. Like, he doesn't want to go anywhere, even though we repeatedly tell him we're not going anywhere. Like, why is the kid crying? Because the goat ate the goat food out of its hand.
Right. It sounds about right.
It's laughing because she dropped the receipt we got from the gas station. Because I would... She's having a meltdown because I wouldn't let her play with a bag of dog poop.
Right.
Like, it's just so many.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I love the
kids
the toddler
these days.
meltdowns.
They're brilliant.
Right.
It's funny when you don't have them. It's hilarious.
No, it's hilarious when you have them too, and it's just because you're just like, oh, my life has meaning again. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not the only mom that deals with this.
It's like, oh, so they're all broken? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here trying to decide what to share because there's always something hilarious with my son. But being the mom of a boy, I feel like every story I have to tell has to deal with penises.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like,
that's all there is.
Of course.
And now it'll be on YouTube.
Right.
So you can show him his date.
Gift that keeps on giving.
Like, even when he was a toddler and learning to talk, he used to say discs, but it sounded like dicks.
Right.
He'd be like, "Mom, insert the disc." Insert the what? Okay.
There are 2 words going together here.
We had a recent incident where I asked him if he washed his penis in the bath.
Yeah,
It's a good question, right?
Yeah.
I would assume for having a boy. Yeah.
Yeah, he told me to ask his penis.
Oh,
And I said, "Well, it doesn't talk. You'll have to tell me." And he's like, "No, just pretend the end is its head. It will shake yes or no." Yes, he did.
I am so glad I had girls. So glad I had girls.
So I said, "Okay, did
Okay.
you wash your penis, Jonah's penis?"
Yeah, I was like, how do you address that? Do you call him Mr. Penis?
Right,
Like,
exactly. Is he a
it
sir?
shook-
Did he get
It
knighted?
shook, it shook no.
Oh, God.
Oh.
I was like, "Okay, we need to wash," and he goes, "It was just joking. Ask it
Oh.
again."
Oh, my God.
Jonah's penis, have you been washed?
And now
Yes.
Jonas Penis is now a stand-up comedian, and he's touring the Comedy Store near you.
And now, thanks to Bonnie and her little Mr. Penis thing, now I heard Mr. Peanut, and now I will never be able to look at him again.
Whole new thing now. It's a whole new world. Oh my God. I will also out my child. She knows I love to tell this story. She's okay with me telling this story because I tell it a lot. And if I already told it to you, I apologize, but it's hilarious. So we were coming home from the grocery store. And so at the grocery store, they have where you go up to the deli counter, or not deli counter, go up to the bakery counter and the kids can get a free cookie, right? So we had forgotten to get a free cookie when we came in. And so it was this whole big brouhaha of, can I get a free cookie? Can I get a free cookie? And so we got a free cookie on our way out. We get home and the girls, both of my girls, need to help put the groceries away. That's part of, the responsibility factor.
Yeah.
But little Samantha goes, I can't put the groceries away. I have a cookie. And she was holding it up and she had full sass, like just full on sass. In that moment, the dog jumped up, ate the cookie out of her hand, and she stood there frozen. And I went, and I'm trying not to laugh the whole time. I went, it appears you don't have a cookie now. So I'm going to need you to put the groceries away. And then I just bust out laughing because I just couldn't handle it. That's too funny. So my dog helped the situation and was the second parent that day.
It was Trinity, wasn't
It
it?
was Trinity.
It was Trinity.
It was the black and white. It was the police dog that went, oh, you have angered mother. And so your cookie must be removed so you can put away groceries.
That dog is Loki.
That dog is mischievous and can get out of prison. Exactly. So yes, that is my funniest thing I have seen a kid do is I can't because I have a cookie. Oh, anymore. Oops. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, all right. So I see that on the video that Katie has frozen again. She is frozen in
Nice
laughter.
frozen face.
Exactly.
Oh, wait till she sees the video.
Oh no. She'd be like, why? Why am I frozen?
While she's gone, can I out my daughter again?
Sure.
Yeah.
I remembered another funny thing she did.
What, because you didn't want Katie to know? No, I'm just kidding.
No. No, because we're killing time.
Tell us
Yes,
the
I
funny
know.
things
Yes,
that
go for
Katie
it.
did while she's away.
No, when Julie was probably she was in preschool because she was still in preschool because it was her preschool teacher got pregnant.
Yeah.
So, there's all the questions that come up,
Right.
So we're in Whole Foods and she says, Mom, where do babies come from?
Right.
So
This is now the time for it. Sure.
Yeah. So I do the quick, it grows in mommy's tummy, just like you've seen, Michelle, your teacher. And she's like, but how does it get there?
Right.
Well, I'll tell you at home. She's like, no, I need to know now. And we're standing in the aisle, in the vitamin aisle, and I can't escape. And I'm like, I can't shut her up. She just won't let
She
go.
has to know.
Yeah, because she's as curious as I am. Pandora is my name because the whole Pandora's box, because I can't not ask the question even when I know it's trouble. And my daughter is just like it. And there's a woman at the other end of the aisle just dying, and she's just, I've got to hear how this ends.
Right. She's like, oh, she's getting popcorn.
can't shut her up, and so finally I have to explain the logistics because I can't shut her up any other way. So I have to explain the logistics
Right.
of how this happens.
In a Whole
she
Foods.
wants details in the vitamin aisle at Whole Foods. And I told her enough to at least shut her up, and then I get home and she wants to know everything else. And
Right.
she's like, that wasn't that big a deal. Like,
I think she saw the awkwardness on your face and she went, this is fun.
Uh-oh.
The glorious awkwardness.
Yeah.
It's a really good. Oh my goodness.
And I'm guessing the pizza dude has arrived.
Yes.
He was leaving and the door made a noise.
Oh, the leaving to the pizza dude. And then
I have
stuff.
stories for you later.
Stories.
Okay.
Katie's back!
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, we have to change the subject now. She's back.
No, don't. Katie
No.
will shame Sprout. No, we were not talking about you. We were talking
I
about the
promise
pizza
you.
dude.
Yeah.
The pizza
There's-
dude.
Pizza dude and bad stories about my daughter.
You were
There is
fine.
a really good TED Talk that's similar to that.
Oh.
A lady, her kid is working on like a school project or something about the birds and the bees. And
Oh.
it's really good. You need to watch it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring.
Did you guys ever hear the? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Do you guys want to hear about my funny gal though?
Yes,
We're here.
I mean, might as well.
Like before the internet dies again.
Yeah.
The internet, my goodness gracious. Okay, so yeah, I'm totally with Katie that picking one funny gal is like really hard, and so like I'm sorry for putting you through this. Because I had like a half dozen different gals that I was like debating on choosing and stuff like that, and I kept going back and forth. I even like put it up on Facebook at one point where I'm just like, freaking who?
You were throwing me ladies. You were like, what about this awesome? I'm like, stop.
I know
Yeah.
more options is not the problem, people. Eliminating options. But it was my daughter, Samantha, the one with the cookie, who said you should pick Mel. And I really kind of worried that not many people knew this glorious British comedic sweetheart. But then Samantha added the icing on the cake and she said, but you love Mel. And I really, really do. I like light up whenever Mel is on television. Like I like lean in and I'm like, oh, it's Mel. Like I don't know, like it's a celebrity or a family member or something like that I just love. Mel brings me so much joy and positivity. She like cracks my ship up. So I figured it's really what we need right now. We need some, light and fun and positivity. So I figured I would share. Mel Giedroyc is her name. If have you guys seen The Great British Bake Off?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No.
Mel and Sue is a lot how people kind of like
Oh,
know
that
her
Mel.
name.
Okay.
She's on
Yeah.
the Taskmaster.
She is on Taskmaster.
We're on that season right now.
Yes.
Yes.
She's wearing the all blue jumpsuit and she has the braid on her head. That's Mel.
She's keeping all the little thingies.
She
Okay,
is.
now I
She
have
keeps
to watch
every
that
single one. Oh my gosh, she's
So
hilarious.
adorable.
Yeah, she's
Who
adorable
doesn't love
and
her?
I love her. Yes. Yes. So Mel is on a lot of British television. She does have like over 30 acting credits on IMDb. One of them, Bonnie will absolutely love this. She was the voice of a sheepdog on a television show called Mist Sheepdog's Tales. And it's all about a sheepdog. And it's not even animated. It's like live action with
It's
narration.
Like,
Oh.
It's kind of
what was
awkward.
it? Milo and Otis.
It's like Milo and Otis, yeah, because their lips don't move or anything like that. They just do the
Yeah.
narration. But
Nice.
but Mel is the voice of a sheepdog, and so it's adorable. Where Mel does most of her work is as either a TV presenter or as a celebrity guest. She has like 115 credits right now as just self, basically.
Wow.
So that's mostly where you see her from. But I will back up to where her career kind of like the seed got planted for her career. It started at Trinity College, which is part of Cambridge. I just love at the University of Cambridge, right? Mel was a language major, which is kind of when you watch her, you can see her. She always like takes a word apart and like finds a joke within it. So she has a real love of language, and she also plays with it. She doesn't say like obviously, she says ovs. She like shortens every single word, and I do that all the time, right, Bon Bon?
Yep.
Can't say a normal word, so she shortens them, and I just dig it. She got degrees in both French and Italian, but just on Bake Off, I have heard her use a dozen different languages. So, like, I think she knows more, or at least she can fake it, for a sentence or something like that. So I believe it. She met Sue Perkins, Mel and Sue, at Cambridge. Yes, I have to say it like that. I know, just theater at Cambridge. That would be almost too much, wouldn't it? But they were both in the Footlights Comedy Club together. And in was that my husband over my shoulder? Was he holding an animal?
He just it popped out with Trinity and then went
right,
back.
exactly.
He's like, I made a mistake.
You can totally come out if you want to, honey, but we are recording. Nope, the door's closed. No. He's like, baby. Lovely. So in 1993 at the Edinburgh Festival, Mel and Sue were shortlisted for the Best Newcomer Award. So that was kind of like the start of their people noticing them, you know what I mean? And getting some publicity. So that actually led them 5 years later. I mean, not a whole bunch of publicity because it did take some time, but they got their own show, Mel and Sue, and it was called Light Lunch. So it was an afternoon chat show, and the way that it was structured was actually kind of cute. There was a chef would come in and would make something, and then they would be all like, awkward around it and stuff like that. But they would make something, and then they would have a celebrity come, and the celebrity had a couple of bucks to buy something interesting as their lunch. And, the more weird food, the better as the conversation. So not your standard like interview, but with food. When Channel 4 moved them from an afternoon show to a 6 p.m. show, they changed the name of it to Late Lunch. And it became more of like sitting on the couch, tell us some jokes and stuff like that. But it's very 90s. Like the band is it feels like Hootie and the Blowfish. Everything's super colorful. The one that I was watching on my lunch break today, Sue had like a crop top. And I'm like, I've never seen Sue in a crop top before. It was the 90s. We did weird shit. So... But I'll put one in the show notes where Whoopi Goldberg and Michael Bolton were the guests. Hilarity ensues. They're in love with Michael Bolton through the whole thing. And I'm like, I don't see it. Anyway, but again, 90s, we were dumb. So when Light Lunch or Late Lunch was deemed unsatisfactory for Channel 4, that's how they cancel things, by the way, in England. Unsatisfactory. It wouldn't be until 2010 that Mel and Sue were actually back on TV again, and it was food related once again. So the Great British Bake Off, or as it's known in America, the Great British Baking Show, hit the world by storm. In fact, I have a coloring book. Yeah, I do. I love my little coloring book. I have not colored in all that much. I won't show you my coloring because it's really terrible, but that is the petitza. They made a petitza on there at one point, which is a Croatian Serbian dish that actually my family makes. And then like it's even got the little house and the tent where they do stuff. Nice. So they have a little tent that's like set up and they do baking challenges. Do you guys know why there's two different names for the show though? Why it's Bake Off or Baking Show? Okay. It's because Pillsbury has the trademark to the words bake off in this country. Yeah, because Pillsbury. Because Pillsbury would have like different amateur cooking challenges called bake-offs, and they trademarked the word.
They couldn't just work with them and have it be sponsored by Pillsbury? Like
they could have, or they could have just changed the name. I mean, it was cheaper and easier to just change the name. You get more control that way.
Besides, if Pillsbury sponsors it, they're going to want their stuff used.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And also when they had a sponsorship of Schmag, which was a refrigerator, they got chastised by the British audience for having product placement. The British don't appear to like product placement. Seem unsatisfactory. So sure. But that's a little bit of trivia for you of why there's two different names for it. But the show started on the BBC with Mel and Sue as presenters. And the judges are Mary Berry, who is an older gal who really likes to drink. So Cheers.
Yeah.
And Paul Hollywood, who Mel calls the self-appointed voice of bread. The man is obsessed with bread.
He
How
is.
it looks, how it feels, how it tastes, how many holes are in it, what the size of holes are. The man's obsessed with bread. Katie,
Yeah.
you would love him and hate him at the same time. He's a lot to take in. But he's one of the
Those
judges.
eyes.
Yes, but he's got piercing blue eyes and spiky hair. He's
Mm.
exactly. But how the show works is there are 12 amateur bakers and they make 3 different dishes per episode. They do a signature challenge, they do a technical challenge, and then they do a showstopper. The thing that's so lovely about this damn show, it is the most kindest, warm-hearted, sweetest competitions you have ever
Yes.
seen. Like, they cheer each other on. When they win, they hug. When someone is eliminated, they hug.
Yeah.
When somebody is like finished with their bake and somebody else isn't finished, they help each other finish their bakes.
Aw.
Like they really actually care about each other. So you watch the show and not only do you want to bake better, but you want to be a better person just watching this damn show.
Yeah.
So it's like this whole like self-esteem through cake, basically. Or a Victoria's sandwich, because that's what they tend to make a lot. But it actually wasn't always this way. So when they were filming the very first season, Mel and Sue actually almost quit the show. This is what they said. They said, quote, "We resigned basically because it was not a kind show. They were pointing the camera at the bakers and saying things that would make them cry, like, tell us about your dead gran." So we had very stiff words about how we wanted to proceed. By the way, my cat is mad. I don't know. if
Yeah,
you can
what
hear
is
my
he
cat.
doing back there?
Ruthie's the black cat by the door. I'm pointing at her right now. But not only would Sue and Mel say that that's not cool, we're not going to have a mean show, they would deliberately and hilariously interfere with contestants if they were having a breakdown. They would go, if the bakers were starting to cry and freaking out, they would put their coats over the contestants so that they couldn't film them crying. Or Mel and Sue would start swearing uncontrollably so the footage was not deemed usable while the
Nice.
contestant was having a hard time.
Aw.
So they protected them. They really, really did. They were also queens of innuendo and puns. And I loved every single one of them. One line is, "You can't keep a good tart waiting. Time is money. Time is money." They were making tarts. And then during bread week, Mel said, "Stop loafing around. There's only a half an hour left." And then she winks at the camera, and it's kind of like "I know you like that one. There's plenty more where that came from." Like, it's really, there's another one that's all about self-saucing. They keep saying saucing over and over again. I don't know. They're hilarious. Okay. So it's an amazing show. It's on Netflix. There are 10 seasons. My cat seems really mad, doesn't she? Let her in. Let her in. She's left out of the prison. But there's 10 seasons, but not all of them are on Netflix. And actually, there's Christmas specials that aren't necessarily on there. There's comic relief specials that aren't on there, and they're all worth finding because they're all freaking hilarious and wonderful and inspiring. So now at the end of season 7, it was announced that the show was going to move from BBC to Channel 4 because money. The show's stars found out via the news. They weren't consulted. They weren't told. They asked, like, the news came to them and be like, "So what do you feel about the move?" And they're like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Yeah.
So later it was announced that Mel and Sue and one of the judges, Mary Berry, decided not to come back to the show. And Mel and Sue issued a statement and they said, quote, "The BBC nurtured the show from its infancy and helped give it its distinct warmth and charm. It grew from an audience of 2 million to 15 million at its peak. We made no secret our desire for the show to remain where it was, and we had the most amazing time on Bake Off. We love seeing it rise and rise like a pair of yeasted Latvian bats." See the innuendo in there? But we're not going with the dough. See, there's the pun. We wish the very best to we wish the future bakers every success. So Mel and Sue continued to work together, but not like exclusively. You know, they would do separate things as well. So Mel, she is a huge Eurovision Song Contest fan. Have you guys ever heard of the Eurovision Song? Oh God, okay. My husband could spend hours telling you how fantastic Eurovision is. Let's just say I'm not as excited about it as he is. But it's each country in the European Union has a song and a singer, and they compete of which country has the best singer and song. It's like 4.5 hours long, and it's a lot. And it's weird. And it's weird.
Didn't it get like canceled because of the corona?
My husband's still crying. I believe he's in that room crying right now, still over Eurovision.
Wait,
like
it's the dog.
Yes, exactly. He has his comfort animal because Eurovision. Yeah, no, it's completely sad. They've been sneaking out songs before the corona, and he's like, "This is amazing," and I'm like, "No." Anyway, but Mel loves it, and she is actually in 2018 she was the UK spokesperson for Eurovision, so she's into it as much as Josh is. So cool. Mel, she's also done theater. She was in The Sound of Music. She played Frau Schmidt. She was in Rocky Horror Picture Show. She played the third narrator. I didn't know there was a third narrator. She played Sarah in Company, and she was Beatrice in my favorite Shakespeare play, Much Ado About Nothing. So I was so excited she was that. She's been on the radio, both children's radio programs and as like guest host. And this year, she started a podcast. Right. So Mel Giedroyc is Quilting is the name of her podcast. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's adorable. It's each episode she's trying to make a square and how it kind of ties into her quilting. And she's very much using it because of the social distancing. They're doing it over remote. So it's very much therapy as well as quilting. And it's adorbs. She also has 2 books out. So Bonnie, if we can get them, we totally should try to get them. They're both about her adventures in pregnancy. So they're From Here to Maternity is one of them. And Going Gaga is their life after birth. Are her 2 books that she has. I can't wait for more books. She's done lots more TV, but I will just mention a few of my favorites because not all of them necessarily translate here to American. But I watch a lot of British TV. She did a guest spot on Travel Man. Travel Man is actually on Hulu. It's with Richard Adewale. I highly recommend it. But she did an episode where she makes macaroons at Le Cordon Bleu. Katie, you should watch it. It's really good and it's adorable. They get a participation piece of paper. It wasn't that you made good macaroons, is that you were there.
You were there.
But Mel is very much trying to be teacher's pet like the entire time. So cute. There's also the Big Fat Quiz of Everything. That is, I watch it on YouTube. It's also hilarious. The one with Mel is the best. She kind of goes on a thing about Crossrail. She loves Crossrail, and I don't understand it, but she loves it, so now I love it. She convinced me. Whatever it is, sounds brilliant. And Taskmaster, which I started watching because Bonnie showed me a clip, and I'm like, oh, that's Mel. So, yeah, once I saw Mel.
I was watching because of Joe Lycett.
I love Joe Lycett.
Oh, I guess the artist formerly known as Joe Lycett. I guess he changed his name like last month to like Hugo Boss, I think.
Yes, because it was to piss off Hugo Boss too.
It was for like a copyright thing.
Yeah.
He was wanting to
It's actually pretty savvy. Hugo Boss has a very torrid history with the Nazis. They tended to make a certain German uniform.
No, I'm just picturing him in his giant fur coat.
Yes.
Just being like, I'm Hugo Boss.
I am now Hugo Boss. And then also like kissing the Taskmaster's portrait each time before he does a challenge as well. Joe Lycett is amazing. You should also check out Joe Lycett. But Taskmaster is hilarious. It's giving celebrities a random task and not a whole bunch. Like the rules are iffy, so you really can do out of the box crazy things. And they even had one little segment where they tried to see if they could get Mel mad. because she's always so positive. She's always like, this is great, brilliant, man. I love this. Like everything is positive. So they made a challenge for her and her alone of this giant beach ball, and she had to get it out of this field. And she couldn't. And they're just like, we're going to watch her explode. We're going to watch Mel finally be mad. She almost got there. Almost.
We just watched one where the challenge was to slide the farthest.
Yes.
She put herself in like a sleeping bag and basically had like two people just drag her around the
Yeah.
whole time. She's like, you guys are great. You're amazing. You're doing the best job. Like, she's so nice.
She's so nice. I know. I love her. She gives me joy. Yes, exactly. Let me see. She has a brand new show. So the show just started the end of March, so it's not in on Sky TV in England. So I don't know when it's going to come to the States, but hopefully it'll come soon, because the show is called Hitmen. It's a scripted show, and it stars Mel and Sue as hitmen. And they're really bad at it. And they dress up in costumes and they're trying to kill people, but then they don't want to kill people. And it's like, oh my. So I'm super excited. Again, I will put the trailer for it in the show notes because it looks freaking brilliant. So I'm down for it at any point that I can watch this. And also I didn't want to spend the time. Also, there's a really amazing story about Mel's father, but it's a sad one, and I didn't want to like bring it down because it's funny, gals. I will have it in the show notes, but I will tell you that Mel's father, as a boy, was in a Soviet gulag.
Oh.
He was like prisoned. He lived in Poland, and he was imprisoned in a Soviet gulag as a young boy. It's absolutely inspiring. Her dad wrote a memoir about surviving it and their journey out of it, and it's freaking amazing. But it's a tearjerker sadness, but it's happy because he's alive. Well, sorry, actually, he passed on a couple years ago, but he lived through it, I should say, to a healthy, long life with a loving family. So how about that?
Okay.
So yes, exactly. So, but Mel is like, she's 100% like joy and light and fun and pun. I love her puns. She also burps like a champ. If you look on YouTube, there are videos of just her burping. Yes. Like it's just randomly on a show, and it's just like 20 seconds of Mel burps, and it's like, yes.
Nice.
She always talks about her gas. She asked Whoopi Goldberg if her name is because she was gassy, because Mel's very gassy. By the way, yes. Whoopi's name is because she farted a lot, by the way. The whoopee cushion and the farts. I mean, you know, you're in comedy, so why not? But yes, she's weird, she's lovely, and she knows exactly who she is. So I wanted to share somebody who's not only like deserving of like a spotlight, but whose career is like still going. So we could like, you know, we could cheerlead with her. We could be like, hey, no, you got to see this crazy lady. She's amazing, and she'll make you smile. So do you think you guys are going to check out more Mel stuff now?
Yes.
Sweet. Job is done. Mel and Sue is absolutely hilarious. And I love them both. That's my one cool thing. Does anybody have any questions about Mel?
Can we have a viewing party once the isolation period is over?
Right?
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Or stock up on Bake Off.
Ooh.
Because the Bake Off, you will also start wanting to bake at the same time, which Katie, you already do. But I mean, I don't know what it would do to you. I want to know, would you go plaid with your bacon? You go past wanting to bake into super wanting to bake.
She's already wearing plaid.
Yeah.
Just the thought of it.
See? Exactly.
My agenda tomorrow is to make homemade bagels.
Ooh. See? Jelly. I
I'm gonna
can't.
social distance at her house.
I know, right? Can you zoom that? I want to watch Katie make bread. Bagels. I love it. Yay! Cool. All right. Want me to wrap it up?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
She's really fun and adorable.
Mel wants you to
Yes.
know that you're doing a great job.
Thanks. Sweet. Cool. Well, that wraps it up for Funny Gals Month. So join us next month as we start a new research theme. It's going to be women and their animals.
Yay!
Bonnie might have picked this one. Bonnie might be really excited about this one.
You think?
This might be the best one ever. So it's Pet Month next month, and it's going to be a perfect month. Oh, see what I did there? So thank you so much for listening, and stay safe out there. For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gals Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.